Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bag of Dawn, a Stock Market Caddy. It is Wednesday, September 14th at just about 7 p.m. I'm making this video to offer a performance report, specifically on the Nicklaus timing model. Now, I'm making this video primarily for Vinicio. Vinicio is a nice young man that called me on Saturday from El Salvador. And Vinicio is a futures trader. Can't recall exactly the platform that he's using. He's been trading and he had some questions for us. We talked about a lot of different interesting things. And he sent me an email and asking me about the performance characteristics and past performance of the Nicklaus timing model. So I thought I would go ahead and do that. Vinicio, I'm sorry that I didn't do this earlier. We were down for a day because we had a hard drive crash on us, but we're back up and slowly getting all of our different musical backgrounds and so forth pulled together. So there won't be any of that fanfare today in this video. It's just going to be a down and dirty presentation on the Nicklaus timing model. I'm going to show you what goes into the Nicklaus timing model, how it can be traded. I want to show you the performance over the last, we'll say probably it's going to be about 10 years. And then we'll drill down and look at the performance over the last year, or the last, we'll say the rolling 12 months. Now, I want to make sure that I mention this for Vinicio's benefit, but remind all of our members, which they already know. We've said this a number of times for them. They know and understand. But anyone else that might see this video and pass through, a couple of things. One, I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor, right? So we don't make specific recommendations to buy or sell anything. I'm not interested in managing anyone's money. So we're not soliciting funds. We are a mentoring site. That's it. And with that mentoring site, we offer and provide a lot of the tools, decision-making tools that Susan and I are using and have been using for the benefit of our private members. In the end, though, the use of these tools rests with the individual. Okay, now some people embrace this with both arms and love it. Others, maybe not, and we won't hear from them. I don't think that's the case with Vinicio at all, or he wouldn't be still in contact with us, right? And that's okay. This trading and taking control over this part of one's life is, for us, is fun, is exciting, is challenging, it's dynamic. We embrace and love the uncertainty of it all. For many others, unfortunately, maybe for them, and we don't seek these folks, but they have bought into all of the misinformation maybe that's out there, and or they just have other interests, other passions, and they're just not interested. Maybe some have just so much money they can park it with a wealth manager and just don't want to be bothered. Others, maybe they're too fearful, whatever. But that's not our concern, not your concern. So I do want to mention that for everyone's benefit that might hear this. The second piece to this is what I'm about to show you on the Nicklaus timing model is not just the case for the Nicklaus timing model, it's the case for all of our strategies and all of our tools. And it's really the case, I would presume, for everyone else's. And that's this. And I really want to take a few minutes and emphasize this because it is important. And it's one of the few things from Wall Street that they say that is true. There's a lot of stuff that isn't true, a lot of misdirect, a lot of misinformation. But this one thing is true. And I hear other people sometimes just kind of rattle through it as though it's just some sort of, some sort of disclosure thing. It's important. And I want to explain what it is and why it's important. And it is certainly a disclosure. It is certainly from a liability standpoint. It is. But by the same token, it's also very important that a person understand this. And it speaks to what I call a mature trader. We sometimes, this isn't the case for Vinicio, I know this, I've already spoken with him, so I'm not at all saying this to you, Vinicio, but other folks that have called us in the past, I would say they may have been trading for years, but they have unreal expectations. They have biases, or their heads are full with a lot of misinformation. So this is the borrow a Biden term. This is the deal. God, I want to sound like that, but can't say it any other way. This is the deal when it comes to the Nicklaus timing strategy or any other strategy that we have or anyone else. What's happened in the past may or may not happen in the future. Okay, and it's really important to understand that, because just like playing golf, you could play this same golf course every single day. Every single day. The likelihood that that golf ball is going to land in precisely the same spot from one day to the next, and you're going to use exactly the same club with exactly the same outcome, is slim and none. Just not going to happen. And you're probably not going to pick, all six, the Sweet 16, the basketball tournament or the soccer tournament, pick every single winner. It just, the law of probabilities is just against you. It's, probably in the billions. So what are these? Now you may, the person, the immature trader, maybe immature person, may say, oh, that's a cop-out, I'm not, then that just goes to show that nothing works. No, and that's why I'm going to take our time here and just discuss this. No, what it means is these back tests and these performance reports are a model that we measure our performance against. Okay, so I'm going to show you what goes into the Nicklaus timing model, and I still got 4 or 5 minutes, 3 minutes to do it. I'm going to show you what goes into it. Then I'm going to show you what the performance report looks like over the last 10 years, which would have been, 12 months ago, would have been the same. And then I'm going to show you what it's done rolling forward, and it's performing pretty well. Now, another piece to this on the Nicklaus timing model, I am running these models, the Nicklaus, with no profit targets, no stops, no other inputs. When these are sitting on your desktop as a member, you can put them in. So we could significantly improve the model and most likely improve the performance. But we're not doing that here, and we don't do it when we report. We want Nicklaus to show the broad characteristics of the market. All right? All right, so I think that's important. I wanted to take 8 minutes to explain that, because it's I think it is important. This the VIX daily component triggered long yesterday. It's up a little bit. The Nicklaus timing model did in fact go short yesterday. Today's the 14th, and they are underwater a little bit. Okay, and this pertains to something else. So we're actually, you can back that out. I'm running something, so I can't turn that off. So that's not, I'm not counting that. So the Nicklaus timing model is probably down a couple of grand here tonight. Now, he does not win every single trade. He does have drawdowns. He does get trades wrong, and he will execute, right? I do want you to know that. What we're looking for, and this signal comes in at 5 p.m., and we'll get a view of it at 6:01. We need a few seconds past 6 o'clock for the markets to open, and then we know if there was a signal. There was no signal today. There was a signal yesterday. So you can deduce the signal before was long, and it had a run up of about $30,000. The signal before that, and you're going to see this in the report, was actually long, and it had a run up of about 40 some odd thousand. What we're looking for. We're looking for the markets to be ideally all in one direction, which they frequently are, because they've been commoditized. They all move pretty much together. And we're looking for the VIX running this model to be in the opposite direction. It sometimes isn't, and it can be a hint of a change of direction, but right now this is, a beautiful setup where the markets are still short. Now, these monies are significant that you're going to see in the performance report. We're showing this using just one mini. And today, wasn't the case 10, 15 years ago, but today, to carry a mini contract overnight, which is what the Nicklaus is trying to do, calls for quite a bit of capital. So there's what one could do with this. Well, there are some folks that do take these, all of them, with one mini. There are some that do it with multiple contracts. They're in a different place. I do not. We have some that will use micros. Can't use micros on the VIX. I don't think it has a micro. We have some that will use options. We have some that will choose just one market or two. We have some that will use this as a barometer as to what side of the market they might want to be on. That sort of thing. That is up to the individual trader. I don't tell one specifically what and how to do. We do spend our time with our members in the beginning going into detail how we approach, but in the end, as a member of the Stock Market Caddy, different from everyone else, we're going to take our time with everybody. But person, if they're going to get value from what we're doing, they need to learn to trade their own game. And our members that are with us, good long time, they get it and they're doing great. Others, maybe not. And that's okay. It's totally okay. All right. So what is behind this? What is making it run? Let me show you. Okay. So this is the chart of the ES contract, the daily chart. Now, here's the Nicklaus running. So the trade manager that you just saw is being generated from this chart. This is a daily chart, continuous contract. Let me show you how far back this goes. They're all the same. It goes all the way back to January of 2009. Now you may say, Don, you cherry picked that. No, actually we started even before that. And the Nicklaus timing model did not do well before this time frame. But after this time frame, it did. Why is that? Who knows? Maybe the markets are being controlled and manipulated. But so we start from here, and we started this back a few years ago. We were not running this in 2009 or 2012 or 2013. We weren't running it. But after some years into this, whatever it is has been going on for the last 10 to 12 years, we began to see a relationship between what? The market, the ES mini, the VIX, and the 10-year Treasury bill. And there are the three data streams, data 1, data 2, data 3. Those three data streams are embedded in this chart. But Bagger, I don't see them. There's nothing to see, even for me. I don't know for sure when these signals are going to come through. It is a math formula that is compressing those three data streams. I do simply put up a bar chart and a simple Bollinger Band just to have some perspective. By the way, the strategy, just so you know, does not use Bollinger Bands, right? So it doesn't. Now, so let's go open up a performance report. Now, again, I just want to mention this strategy, as it's written here, is constantly in. It's always long or short. It's in all the time. If I really wanted to sugarcoat this, I could put on a profit target. I could put on a stop loss. I could trick it up, not trick it up, but put in a bunch of exits where it isn't in the market all the time and have even a better equity curve. Could do that. But again, past performance doesn't necessarily mean that's going to produce in the future. So what we're trying to do is get a good broad strategy that can help us stay on the right side of the market. Now, I can tell you what is behind this. Just about all of our other strategies are trying to identify long trend, short trend, counter trend, short, counter trend, long. Nicklaus is not doing that. Nicklaus is doing something entirely different. Nicklaus is looking at the suppression or the expansion of market volatility, shocks by market vibrations. So there are times when the market could be running, and we get a sell signal, or it's rather remarkable. So that's about all I can tell you. I do have members that have said, Don, you shouldn't show this on YouTube. I'm not worried about it. The likelihood of anybody developing what we have here is beyond picking the Sweet 16 of the basketball tournament. It's just not going to happen. All right, so let's come here to the data performance report. Bear with me. And again, I'm not presenting this Vinicio or to anybody to say that this is what's going to happen to you in the next 10 years. We can't do that, and we aren't doing it. But I do understand Vinicio being a trader saying, well, I get that, but I would like to see something. I would like, I get that too. So I do. So that we are all on the same page. All right, so I'm drilling down here. I want to get this expanded. Bear with me. Bring this up to the top here. All right, so that's pretty much it. So over the last 10 years, this is some of the detail. And you're welcome to look at it and welcome to critique it. That's the net. Profit factor, 1.41. What does the performance graph look like? And that's it. For a long time, it didn't do a whole lot, but it really did a lot in here. All right. Now, you want to see what has it done in the last, we're going to say this year and maybe the last rolling months. So let's pull that up. Okay, so you want to write these numbers down. So we're going to write down what this has done this year, right? So in the last 12-month period, actually this is the rolling 12-month, right? So that's what it's done. And then since January 1, the ES has done 9,813.50. All right, that's carrying it, all the way through to its conclusion. Could a person have done better than that? Yes. Could they have done worse? Yes. I mean, but that's where it is. That's the ES. Okay, so over this same period for the NQ, this is the total net and the total profit factor. What has it done in the last or this year for the NQ? Okay, the NQ, I was a little surprised with that, but I felt as though we've done better on that, cherry picking it, but it's at a loss, 5,394. All right, let's go to the Russell. Okay, the Russell in 10 years, that's what it's done. So this is the least performer, and the profit factor is pretty narrow, 1.14. And the Russell historically is, when it comes to Nicklaus, is the less of the four. What has it done this year? This year, the Russell has done 8,000. Jotting this down, 8,491. Right, so I didn't even have these numbers at my fingertips. Now we want to go to the YM. Okay, the I didn't write down the total numbers here over the last 10 years. I guess I could have, but everyone else is welcome to do that. I won't. But it did 181,000, 1.56. Now we want to know, what has it done this year? Okay, now this year it's done 12,366. All right. Now we're going to do the VIX component itself. Now, I never short the VIX. I do short the VIX in other instances, in terms of I sell volatility and options on other products, but I never short the VIX. I will buy the VIX, but I never short it. But still, let's report on it and see what it does to the overall. I'm sorry. So over, let's just double check. It should be over 10. Yeah, it is. It's 10 years, 12/31/08. It's all of these were the same period. $22,000. So as the VIX, playing the VIX in and of itself, hasn't been worth it. Particularly probably on the well, it's actually on the short side. Yeah, on the short selling VIX, right? Buying VIX hasn't. That kind of makes sense. But let's look at what's done this year. Okay, so the VIX this year has lost 13,000, right? But I don't trade it. I don't anyways. And when we strongly suggest to everybody, that you don't short the VIX. God forbid a plane hits a building when you're short the VIX for 10 or 15 minutes, and you could be in trouble. But it is what it is. And in the rolling period, not so good. Great indicator, great tool, just not a great instrument in and of itself. So what does this total out? Let's add it up. You probably have two. I'm going to be looking at just what they've done this year. Okay, my tally comes from the four markets, not including the VIX. If a person took every single trade, carried it all the way through, never scalped it, didn't do any management at all with it, 25,276. If they had done the same with the VIX, it would be half that, because you got to back out some 13,000. So what does that mean? It means what it means. That's what it is. Now, do we have members that took every single trade? We might. I can't say for sure. Do we have members that, just did a few and did far better from that? I'm sure. Do we have others that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the performance day by day, week by week of our members. And in the end, Vinicio, and for anybody, as a mature trader, what Nicklaus did last year is last year. It only matters what you do, and that isn't any kind of a cop-out, or it just is. And that's what we mean by a mature trader. What I do doesn't matter to anyone else. What you do won't matter to anyone else. It is what it is. But these models, these backtests, I hope to save everybody some time. If you are backtesting and backtesting and backtesting, and spending your weekends and free time testing to try to come up with a perfect model, and then trying to get the market in that model to play along perfectly, I think you're wasting your time. That golf ball is not going to land on exactly the same place. We can give, and we do give great instruction on, and we do a lot of back testing and forward testing. We use these back tests as a way of measuring and deciding what we need to be running at various points, depending upon what one is trying to achieve. So it is a benchmark, and we measure our performance to the model based on the efficiency. And if we have an efficiency, sometimes, we can have an efficiency of just 30%, and it can be an acceptable risk model to use. So that will make sense to folks who have been trading for a long time. For others, it may not make any sense. But during our Q School, we go into great detail and try to explain what that is and what that's about, and empirically and also in a live environment, day in, day out. Benicio, thanks for the question. Anyone else that sees this that has a question about what it is we're doing, I'm happy to do that. And Nicklaus is, you can see some of these trades. This was a long trade. This was, and you can see even in here, there was a short one in here, and it was very short-lived, only a day. And then he was in this one, and this is the one. This was back on, and they all went together back on July 13th. and it ran and ran and ran, and nobody down in here was thinking about getting long, and it ran. The run-up on this trade alone, the run-up that we were reporting on was well in excess of, 50, 60 some odd grand. It was huge. And then when we were up in here, we got a signal to go short, and nobody was looking for that. We had, and you can see here, it came out, but, there's still other profits, and then, had this run up. And then and then the most recent one was a long. So this went from here to here, had a run up collectively of about 30 grand. Do we have members that came out and took some money? Probably so. Hopefully they did. You want to have good, quiet skill. Because in the end, reflected in the performance report that I just saw, was, no stop, no nothing, and letting it come down. And that's not how we trade. But this is how we report on Nicklaus, just broadly, right? So a person could go in and, set up controls so that, that you don't give back all your profits. That's part of the acquired trading skill. I hope that makes sense. And again, I'll just end with, we're not presenting any of our tools to the layperson saying that you can use these tools and jump the shark and not learn how the game is played and not develop a trading game. We're not. You must have those skills and you must develop them. And that takes time, that takes effort. I was talking to one of our members today. I know because I'm in contact with him all the time. He spends a tremendous, amount of effort and time in front of his screens, and he works his ass off. He's an extremely good trader, and that's the case with, I want to say really all of our members. So, reach out anytime, Vinicio, and anyone else that might see this. Any questions? Let me know, and we wish everyone the best. Thanks for the inquiry.